Last week, I was lucky enough to be able to find, out of just an amazing man's collection, a guy who has collected incredible pieces of history because he wants to keep them in private hands. Brent Ashworth is his name. And he showed me in his collection a microphone. And I said, "You got to be kidding me." And he said, "Nope." And I asked him, "Would you ever consider selling it?" And he said, "Nope." And then he wrote me back and he said, to you, I think I will, because I know it has special meaning to you and it should be known. Tokyo Rose is a woman that is synonymous with the word traitor. Tokyo Rose was an American citizen. She was probably the most listened to disc jockey in the history of the world. Her name is Iva Toguri. She was born here in the United States, and then she went over to Japan, and then the war happened. And she wanted to come back to the United States, but couldn't. But because she was an American citizen, because she spoke fluent English, she was forced to give broadcasts on Tokyo radio. And there were five different Tokyo Roses. She was Orphan Anne. And she refused. She said, "I'll play music, but I will not do the demoralizing messages." What Tokyo didn't know is that she was actually going to visit our soldiers who are kept in prison camps. And when they found out, they thought she was there doing their work. They didn't trust her. The prisoners didn't trust her, the Americans, and for a while. And Tokyo didn't really trust her either because she was an American citizen. So she was without a country and without friends. But she convinced the Americans, "I'm on your side." And she brought them medicine. She saved their lives. She brought them medicine. She brought them food. She smuggled it in. She risked her life to save ours. She would do broadcasts. In fact, one of the guys who this didn't come out until much, much later in the 70s, Robert White, one of the aerial gunners, he said he used to listen to Tokyo Rose. And he would listen to her, and she would always start the 0 hour. That was hers. And she would start, and she'd say, "Hi, boys, this is your old friend, Orphan Annie. I've got some swell records just in from the States. You better listen to them while you can, because late tonight, our flyers are coming over to bomb the 43rd Group when you're all asleep. So listen while you're still alive." And the guys in Tokyo couldn't really understand, and they thought that she was demoralizing. What she was doing was she was telling, "Tonight, we're going to go bomb the 43rd Group." She saved lives. When the war was over, a Navy officer came over and he burned the radio station down to the ground. But before he did, he wanted to kill her. But before he did, he took her microphone and he brought it back to the States. This is Tokyo Rose's microphone that is now sitting on my desk. It has not been used to broadcast anything since World War II ended and Tokyo Rose spoke into it. But she was speaking words that were truth, that were trying to help the American people. When the war was over, the investigators from the U.S. government came over and investigated her and found out from the prisoners of war that she was helping them. And she was helping write these broadcasts and had them help her write these broadcasts in ways that wouldn't be demoralizing, would show that we're on the inside. And so she was let go. But when she was coming over back to America, her home where she was born, what happened? A radio broadcaster, Walter Winchell, found out about it and thought this was awful that she could even come here. She could even come here. Here's Tokyo Rose. And so he started to gin up the American people and start to spread lies. And the government, because they needed to be popular and do the popular thing, they went over and they started to get people to perjure themselves and lie about her. She went to prison as a traitor to her country. It was a lie. I've thought a lot. What am I going to say if this microphone works? What would be appropriate to say in this microphone for the first time since 1945? We don't know if it works or what it sounds like yet. We're going to plug it in here in a second and try it for the first time. A message from the microphone used by a hero that was deemed a traitor in a moment. Just to recap here quickly, this kind of started today because I'm looking at how the news has recapped Ted Cruz and what he did on the floor of the Senate. And they have lied and distorted. They're making him into nothing but a green eggs and ham crazy man. And the media is doing it, and it's not just the Democrats, it's the Republicans. The Republicans, I think, are even leading the charge on this one. And you can disagree with Ted Cruz, but have you ever really listened to his father? Have you ever listened to how he raised him? You think this guy is crazy? He's an Ivy League educated man. His father is a Cuban refugee. You might disagree with him, but he's not crazy. He's not out of control, and he's not a danger to the republic. He's certainly not a guy who gets up for 20 hours and only talks about green eggs and ham. And for anybody else, if you stand up and you filibuster here in Texas about abortion and you think abortion is good, I think it's wrong. You think it's good? Okay, fine. Let the woman speak. And I defended her right to speak, and I chastised the Texas legislature for trying to fudge the law and change the time on stuff. They had to go back and do it right. If you're going to do something, do it right and be honest about it and let the woman be heard. Let her make her case.
Which they wound up doing, by the way.
Right. So what happens? She's a hero, and that's the way the press spins it. And you know what? If that's really what she believes, you look at her and say she's a hero. I have no problem with that. I strongly disagree with her, but I don't think she's insane. But that's what Americans do. That's not what Saul Alinsky does. Saul Alinsky says destroy them. And so yesterday on CNN, you did not see any of the cogent arguments that were made by Ted Cruz. They smeared him. They destroyed him. On my desk is Tokyo Rose's microphone. This is the real microphone that she used to give all of those broadcasts. She was sentenced to 7 years in prison here in America. Her whole story, unbelievable and unbelievably tragic. But let's just say that the government did an investigation. They found nothing on her, so she was free. She wanted to come back to the home that she lived in. She was not only did nothing wrong, she was a hero. But the press got a hold of her and thought they could make things into something, and so they did. Her trial was the most expensive trial in American history at the time. And the government, because the people were now crying for it, because the media spun everything, took her words out of context, the government went over and got people, paid people to perjure themselves. She went to prison. Her microphone hasn't been used since the 1940s, and since she used it, and a Navy officer came in and took it and then burned the radio station down. We believe this is the first time it's ever been plugged in because we had to actually open up the plate last night and put new wires in because they had just been cut. And so we put new wires in the base of it. But this is all the original. Everything is original. This is the microphone she used. And I said last week I thought it would be interesting to plug it in and see if it worked. And I had no intention of bringing it on the air and doing this today until last night when we were doing it. And we were going to test it. And I said, no, wait. No, don't. Don't plug it in yet. Because if it does work, that's an important thing. And so we'll turn off this microphone, and I don't know, should we turn this one off? And I don't know if the other one, but...
Maybe we turn that one off when we find out that one works?
Yeah, turn this one off if we find out. So I'm going to go move to the other microphone. Hang on just a second.
Standing now.
Check.
Wow.
Check 1 2.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow. Yep.
Check 1 2. I thought this morning, if it worked, what should be said? From the microphone used by the woman who identified herself as Orphan Ann, we called her Tokyo Rose. But her name was Iva Taguri. And she told the troops where the bombers were going to come so they could prepare. She hid all of her information. She disguised the words that she was using to hide them from Tokyo, not from the Americans. This microphone hasn't been used since her broadcasts in the 1940s. So here's what should be told. America, tell the truth. Tell the truth, even if it means in the end it hurts you. America, don't believe everything that your country and your government tells you. Because while many times, most times, it's true, in many critical times, it's an out-and-out lie. And it's not an American problem. It is a government problem. It is a human problem. People want power, and they will do anything to keep that power or enhance that power. It's incumbent upon you, if you want to remain free, to do your own homework. And if you don't, you will lose your freedom. And because of that, innocent people will suffer. Truth and justice is the American way. If this microphone could speak, it would tell you this. Your country told you lies. Iva Taguri was not a traitor. She was wrongly tried and wrongly imprisoned. And real justice for her is now beyond our grasp. But if this microphone could speak all that it had seen or heard, my guess is it would say, listen to the voices of the past. Listen to the voices of the past that now cry out. You are the last bastion of freedom in the world. You are smart enough. You as an individual are capable. But if you don't do it, no one else will. Question everything that everyone says. Question the things that are even coming now out of this microphone, just as people questioned it 70 years ago. Find the truth, because it depends on you. It's calling to you. Don't follow the crowd. Don't do the easy thing. Do the right thing, because if you still want to believe that you should be called an American, you do the right thing because everything else is beneath you. That is incredible. That microphone can sound that good after all it has been through. History will always point us in the right direction. The Tokyo Rose story is one of 12 that I have selected to tell in a book that is coming out in a few weeks called Miracles and Massacres: The True History of America. The true stories that have been lost on who we really are. Because if you want to save the country and you want to save freedom, you have to start telling the truth about the miracles and the massacres that this country has seen and been involved in and caused. So you're not going to believe this. I mean, especially since nobody believed that we didn't select 828 because it was the day that Martin Luther King gave his speech. You know, we did Restoring Honor. Nobody believed us. Nobody's going to believe this. And Pat said, what are the odds? And I said 1 in 365 and a quarter. But we get into the break and Jeffy says, you're not going to believe this. I was doing some research while you were doing this. I'm looking her up. Her name is Iva Taguri. She died 7 years ago. Today is the day she passed away. What are the odds?
1 in 365.
0.25. Yeah.
That's really amazing.
It's amazing.
That's really
amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I was looking her up last night and I looked up and I saw that she died 7 years ago because I was like, I wonder how long ago she died. And it wouldn't have been, I said to my wife, we were laying in bed last night and I said, what a missed opportunity. I wish I could have. And we should start looking for some of these people. We should start looking for some of these people that are like this in history that we can reconnect with. And we should have a seance. I'm kidding. No, but seriously, we should start looking for some of these people that we can connect with that are part of history. Can you imagine? I mean, I can't believe Tokyo Rose was with us up until 7 years ago. And you don't really even, did you ever see an interview with her or anything? I mean, here's a woman she was pardoned by Gerald Ford in the 70s.
I remember when we first found out about that, we were like, what? What was he thinking? And then we looked into it to find out what he was thinking.
And he's right.
And he was thinking exactly.
You won't believe there have been several things that Pat and I have talked about in history over the last really year. Several things that were like, that's not right. There's something wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd go back and look, and we'd start to uncover stuff. And then we turn it on to our researchers, and they uncover. And that's really the genesis of this book that we're putting out. And it's so funny because we've written them in story form, so you can put yourself there. And I was giving a charity speech in Idaho about, a month ago or so. And it was just a question and answer. It was really cool. And it was just question and answer. People could stand up and just ask any question. And we were just having this great conversation. A guy stood up and he said, so let me ask you, when are you going to start writing history books that are stories so I can read them to my kids, and so people will connect with these stories of American history again, and they're not just dry dates and places and stuff like that. And I had just finished the final edit of Miracles and Massacres, and I said, what are the odds? And he said, I don't know, probably 1 in 365 and a quarter. And I said, the next book we're doing is that very thing. Reconnect with history, because it will ground you and set things right. And you won't believe how much you don't know about our country that needs to be set right.